Mr. President, I would like you to unmute yourself and I'll pass over the platform to you as you address all the Ambazonians, both in our beloved land and the world at large. Mr. President, you can take over.
Thanks a lot, Comdep. Welcome to all the executive members of the cabinet of the Ambazonian Governing Council, from the vice president to all the top advisors. I want to extend my salutations to all Ambazonians who are following us. I have decided that this cabinet meeting be held public because of the solemnity of the moment. Yesterday, we witnessed the brutal murder in our capital of our young daughter by the colonial regime. And I think it has sent a very strong message to all of us. The pain yesterday was harrowing. Ambazonians rose up in Boya and in Fako in general to express their disdain for what has happened. Today, we are going to have 3 items on the agenda. The first would be a short statement with respect to what happened yesterday. The second item would be a review of activities of October 1. And the third item would be my presentation of my plan that should be adopted by cabinet for the phase of taking over our country and ensuring that we can protect our people and providing both hard and soft power. But first, I would like to first brief the cabinet on what I know based on briefings from my defense advisory and other advisors. Yesterday, in our capital, a military officer of the colonial regime opened fire on a little girl called Caroline Ndiale. And the bullet, tore her head off. And what we know is 2 bags that were in a car in which she was were filled with her blood. And our population responded with collective justice and eliminated the military officer. For that act of courage, I extend on behalf of this house my gratitude to the population. The pain that Ambazonians experienced yesterday because of the death of Caroline is not simply because one person died yesterday. It is because baby Mata died before. It is because of the harrowing way with which Sam Sawyer was murdered and decapitated. We had our grandparents burnt in their homes. Thousands of our people who have lost their lives under harrowing circumstances. And the sad part of this story is the contempt with which the occupier has treated this death. It has immediately politicized them, engaged in denial, shifting blame, and refused to be held accountable. Ambazonians have gone through what happened yesterday on a daily basis. We are just lucky now that we have cameras everywhere where we can document these killings. What is important for us as an executive is to be able to convey not only our sympathy to the bereaved family, but most importantly, to convey our reassurances to the Ambazonian people that all of this death will not go in vain, and that all of these death, all the perpetrators must be held accountable. There is an ongoing sense of invincibility that exists amongst Cameroon military officers. That notion of invincibility has been born out of a system that does not hold officers who murder to account. It has also been because we have failed to a certain extent to bring to justice those who commit murder within our country. Yesterday was a game changer. We are aware that the Ekemas died without being held to account. The Oben Peter Ashus, the Achidi Achus, and others have died without answering, to all the crimes that they committed against our people. Secondly, there has been a lot of calls from people for us to seize the moment. For us to seize the moment. They have likened what happened to baby Carolina as what happened in 1914 that immediately ignited World War I, or the Soweto uprising. I have responded in this way. In our struggle for liberation, there will be hundreds of battles. Some of these battles will be fought by our military. Some will be fought by civil society. Some will be fought by organized groups, interest groups, professionals, advocates. All of these battles will culminate to the freedom of Ambazonia. It is not in my interest and the interest of the Ambazonian Governing Council to attempt to exploit every battle to show leadership or to demonstrate control. There are battles that will be fought and we will offer our moral and leadership support. There are other battles that will be fought and we will offer financial support. Yesterday was one of such battles where our people rose up, took their destiny in their own hands, and we offered military backing, but we allowed the people to take leadership. That's how leaders are born, under extraordinary circumstances. And it will be wrong for the leadership of this liberation struggle to always attempt to impose itself in all battles. We will provide moral guidance. We will provide leadership support, and we will ensure that we communicate what has happened to the international community in such a way that it influences international policies. And that's the approach that we have adopted. It's an ongoing struggle. And when our population rose up yesterday, they also sent a message to other communities, other cities. And our people must get this message that when one Ambazonian is murdered, whether in Boya or in Kwakwa, it is a responsibility of all Ambazonians across the territory to rise up like one people to express their disdain and contempt. That is how we are going to liberate our country and take ownership. This struggle is not that of our defense forces alone. It is that of the Ambazonian people. Our defense forces are playing a crucial role in ensuring that the instruments of the implementation of the policies of occupation who are the military, are dealt with. But there are other soft policies that the occupation usually enacts and implements that affect in a negative way the lives of our people. And it's a responsibility of our people to stand up and reject those policies, to brave the odds. We understand the impunity with which Cameroon has treated peaceful demonstrations. But like yesterday, it showed us that you must not be part of a demonstration to be killed. You must not even be adult to lose your life. The death of Caroline should show Ambazonians that anybody can die. Whether you are part of collective resistance or not, you would simply die because you are an Ambazonian. Your crime is not because you seek freedom. Your crime is not simply because you've risen up against Cameroon. Your crime is because you are an Ambazonian who had been condemned to a life of servitude, and you have suddenly rejected that slave status. And the occupier can no longer believe that those that they treated with such contempt and disdain are able to speak out today in rejection of their status of slavery. My fellow members of cabinet and fellow Ambazonians, the entire cabinet of the Ambazonian Governing Council, on behalf of our people, extend our sincere condolences to the family of baby Caroline. And I call on our people, as I wrote yesterday, to extend their solidarity and support, their prayers, their love, their care, their compassion, and empathy to that family. Yesterday showed us the love we have for one another. It showed us we are not alone. The songs of Home Again Again that were sung in Boya by our students who had bore the brunt of the brutality of the enemy. 4 years later, they rose up to sing Home Again Again. Family must know that you are not alone and that Caroline has not died in vain. She has gone to be with the brave ones who've left before. She died in Boya. That's where Kuva Lekeni, the legendary Bakwere chief, who rose up bravely against the Germans. She died in the same city that our late Prime Minister Endele warned us against any flirtation with Cameroon. Her death should remind every Ambazonian who is still alive that yours might end on the street, in the back of a car. You might be dropped from the back of a bike. Your life doesn't matter as long as Cameroon still occupies your homeland. But under this leadership, we will hold all of them accountable for the blood spilled, the lives lost, and the livelihood destroyed. We make this pledge to 8 million Ambazonians, to the families who've lost loved ones, to the families whose children have been brutalized, to the families whose families are in jail. Your loved ones have not sacrificed in vain. The greatest gift we will give Ambazonians is a freed homeland within which you can live in peace, where peace is not simply going to be something you hope for. It's going to be a reality of your life, an economic situation that empowers you and gives you a life of happiness. I thank Ambazonians for their courage. I thank my executive for the support that you've continuously given my leadership to have been able to withstand the brutality from inside and from outside to serve Ambazonians. I extend my gratitude to each and every one of you, and I hope and pray to God Almighty that He continues to strengthen each and every one of you, to continue to put up the fight, because it's a good fight. It's a fight of our lifetime, to alter our lives, the lives of millions of our people, born and yet unborn. My fellow countrymen and women, you should remain resolute. What we demonstrated on October 1 was just a microcosm of the big picture. And in the next few hours, we will discuss and adopt far-reaching strategies that will not only consolidate the gains we have made, but ensure that we begin to provide services to our people and to give them a life that they've dreamt of. Thank you very much, and good night.